Welcome sports fans, welcome back to the very last Manning Cup post-game analysis. Yes. And I'm your host Joe Mar.
I'm Rush.
And this is the Standout Sports TV, the place you guys come to get the best, most interesting and riveting sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet.
Yes people, but before we get into today's post-game analysis, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment under this one and subscribe to this or that Sports TV. What else I want them to do?
Share the video to at least 10 people, but ensure to get us 6 subscribers. Because if you guys can do that, you know how many subscribers I'll get us by the end of the day?
Yeah, bro, you see me smiling and I'm just having a flashback real quick because we've put in a lot of work, bro. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished this season. You know, we're there from the beginning. I remember being on this ground, you know, just in September, just a couple months ago. You know, the season opener, KC and Calabar and Georges and Arden. And it was a great game. I was saying we want to see the season live up to this first game. And it did, bro. An exciting finals game and we're here to break it down. I must say, I'm proud of the whole team and what we've accomplished, my guy. More work to come though, people. We gotta keep the standard up.
It lived up to that standard and then it surpassed it. And then it surpassed it some more. This has been an amazing Manning Cup season. It has provided goals, it has provided stories, and it has provided moments. And what more can you ask for from a season?
There we go. All right, let's get into the analysis. Let's break down the game. But you know, before we break it down, before we speak about a few of the players and the tactics that we saw today, we have to do the recap.
The grand finale. You know, the players led out and there was a whole heap of tension. You know, there was a lot of excitement, there was a lot of anxiety going around. You know, you could feel the tension in the ground. It was a packed house here at Sabina Park today. And the game would have kicked off on time, you know, as they tend to do. And it was really St. Andrew Technical High School who would begin to apply the pressure on Jamaica College. You know, Staths would possess the ball in the opposition's third. Omar Reed, Taquan Satchel, Dwayne Atkinson were providing Jamaica College with a lot of issues. You know, Romain Blake and Davidson were called into action very many times. You know, Rosika Rose even having to make a save. However, you know, I'd say against the run of play, a ball came over on the counter attack to Fraser, who took it amazingly. And he cut inside and he hit it with that right foot. And it was absolutely nestled into the far corner. Jaheim Williams left helpless, having no chance to get a hand to that. And I think after that, Jamaica College began to get more of a foothold in the game. However, I think St. Andrew Technical were still the more dominant team, still getting the ball forward more, and they were still bossing the game. And that's kind of how the first half transpired. You know, the second half came out, and as Rush would have predicted, Jamaica College came out on the front foot because they are a good second half team. You know, and they came out and they started to possess the ball, they started to play. You know, Tariq Ziminis would have gotten a few opportunities. Makwan Aldrich made a lot of runs. However, they weren't very deadly, they weren't very dangerous. And St. Andrew Technical would continue knocking on the door, they would continue to create chances. Though not being as dominant as they were in the first half, they still provided goal threat. And in the late embers of the game, you know, because of this constant pressure, they forced a mistake out of the Jamaica College's wing back. You know, it's a clearance that should have been routine. You know, he would have dealt with that a million times before. But it's the finals. You know, and the stage probably was too big for him, or it was probably just a simple mistake. But mistake nonetheless. And Taquan Satchel, being the talisman that he is, he latched on to it like a leech and he hit it perfectly past Rosika Rose in goal to make Jamaica College 1, St. Andrew Technical 1. Sir. And the game continued to progress, you know, and in the late embers of the game in stoppage time, we saw Alex Xavier Gooden, who was having an outstanding game to that point, sustain a devastating injury. You know, the whole Sabina Park came to a standstill. You could hear a pin drop in the park. You know, he was substituted off, and immediately after he was substituted off, the dreadful penalty shootout. Yeah. You know, the team stepped up, and with the very first penalty of the game, Romain Blake, a man who you would expect to score 10 times out of 10, or I guess 9 times out of 10. And this would have been that one time that he missed. You know, beautifully saved to Jaheim Williams' right. He got over here and he made it count. You know, the penalty shootout would transpire as you would expect, both teams converting until the dreaded 5th penalty. And it was not converted by a player who you would expect to normally convert their penalties. And as such, sudden death. And both teams would step up and continue to convert until the final Staths kicker would have hit it over the bar, ending the penalty shootout for St. Andrew Technical. Yeah. You know, Jamaica College were clinical. They missed one penalty by the person that they probably least expected to miss, but they managed to get it back in the end.
Yeah.
1-1, Jamaica College winning on penalties.
There we go. And we said 2 teams, 1 trophy. We said joy and disappointment awaits.
Yeah.
No, Jamaica College, they were the more joyful team today. Stats left disappointed. You know what we saw today in terms of tactics was a team that cancelled out. It was a game where teams cancelled out each other. You know, we know that both these teams have a good defense, both these teams have a good forward line, and both these teams have good midfields. No, getting in dangerous positions. Stats getting more in the first half, as I expected, because most people would know Stats start very fast. And I said, you know, to you on the sidelines, you know, if Stats doesn't take one of these chances, it will probably cost them because they got the better chances of the first half.
Yeah.
You know, that goal that Jamaica College got. Let's say Jamaica College got the best chance, but they had the lion's share of the best chances. You know, what we saw was just, you know, a ball broke down in the midfield, switched it over, and a great goal. Jaime Williams had nothing, he could do nothing about that goal. Yeah. You know, and so their heads didn't drop. And I like that about that Stats team, their heads didn't drop. It's almost like they knew that they had a chance. They knew that they could still come back and win this game. And in the second half, Jamaica College put their foot on the gas. Again, a goal against the run of play. Where Stats was playing better than I expected them to play in the second half, but Jamaica College were their usual self in the second half, creating chances, you know, their main men stepping up, you know, winning free kicks around the area, but, you know, it wasn't to be today. And I knew that this game wouldn't have been, you know, one team wouldn't outclass the other team. I knew that this game wouldn't have been comfortable for either team, and that's exactly what we saw. Davian Ferguson, good coach, he asked his team to be solid around the back. We didn't see as much playing out as we were used to, and that may be a tactical adjustment because Stats press is very high. You know, those are some fast, quick players. Omar Reed, big shout out to Omar Reed. He was pressing all day, he was working hard. You know, we saw Davian Ferguson making that tactical adjustment to play the ball less and going long a bit more. Even Rosika Rose, it's uncharacteristic of him to a ball coming in, no pressure, and he's putting his laces through that ball. You know, so that's a tactical adjustment that I realized that Davian Ferguson employed in this game. As far as the stats perspective go, they were pressing. And I could tell that they came out to play a pressing game. I expected them to be direct, and they were direct. And, you know, defensively, Gooden and team was their usual self.
St. Andrew Technical came out, and you can see that they definitely had intention. They were not afraid of the moment. And Coach Philip Williams, he definitely instilled that confidence in them that they could indeed go out and do what they needed to do. You saw them getting the ball in wide positions. You saw Omar Reed and Dwayne Atkinson and Shaquan Satchel in the top midfield and forward areas, constantly exploiting spaces in the Jamaica College's midfield and wide back areas. You know, they would get squares in. You know, they constantly provide goal threats in the first half. And you can definitely see that Philip Williams had these boys playing exactly how they needed to play. They got the ball wide really quickly, they got the ball inside really quickly, they got the ball to Satchel really quickly, and they consistently had Jamaica College running, they consistently had Jamaica College on the back foot. And I think that's exactly what Philip Williams wanted to accomplish from today's game. And his team came out and did just that.
At the end of the day, what I think happened today was, yes, a balanced game, but the more experienced team, the team that has been there before, the team that lost last year to Kingston College, they were here, and you would know that they were here. You know, every single penalty taker, you know, that one that Jaime Williams saved was a good save. We have to give it to him. But every other player just seemed confident. He's confident, you know. Uncharacteristic by Romain Blake, it was not nerves. I can tell you that. That kid does not get nervous. It was just a bad kick on the day. But Jamaica College, they were experienced, and usually the more experienced, the bigger, the better team wins the Manning Cup. You know, and that's what we saw today. Kudos to the Stats team. They are young. They will be back. You know, a lot of 17-year-olds, a lot of 16-year-olds, a lot of players that missed playing codes by just this much. And I expect them to come back next season, you know, and dominate the Manning Cup like they did this year. Now, one thing I expected coming into this game was, you know, to see a story unfold that was written in the stars. You know, doing it for Omar Leng, you know, a 5-year program of Philip Williams, you know, employing his system in the Stats team, you know, investing in this team, bringing players through the ranks, to Pepsi Colts, and then ultimately playing them in the Manning Cup before they're even 16 or 17 years old. You know, I think Gooden started this season at 15 years old. You know, so I'm impressed with that. And it was just not to be. It sounded like a story written in the stars, but it was just not to be.
Yeah, and on the Jamaica College end, you know, they wanted to come and stamp their authority on this competition. They wanted to prove that they are indeed the footballing schools in Jamaica. And I think they did exactly just that, you know, going undefeated all season. That's something that should not be failed to be mentioned. You know, they do not lose. You know, and they showed the guts and the grit to fight it out to the very end. In many competitions, we saw it against Mona, you know, we saw it here again today against St. Andrew Technical, where Jamaica College just showed that they would not give up. You know, obviously they were bolstered by very good talent, and I think they had very good coaching. However, I think Philip Williams employed his system more than what David Ferguson would do. However, I think David Ferguson understood the situation and he managed the game very well, and he instructed his boys to do exactly what they needed to do to get the win today. And that's how it ended.
All right, let's speak about some players that either stood out or were subpar today that we're not used to seeing from them. Who are some players from the Staths perspective that you feel like had a good game today?
First of all, let's start out with Xavier Gooden. It seems as though he's one of the most consistent and one of the most reliable players in the whole entire Manning Cup. As a youngster, he leads this team out with sheer grace and confidence, and he does not put a foot wrong in the defense. He seems to make every single tackle a successful one. He seems to stay on his feet always, and we saw that again today. He made last gasp tackles today, and he did it with such calm composure, and he cleared it when it needed to be cleared, and he passed it in the midfield when he needed it to be passed. He also demonstrated his leadership on the field today. Not being a loud leader, but definitely one that leads his team from the front with his performance and his confidence and his fight. And I think though, coming out on the losing end, unfortunately having to be subbed off late in the game due to injury, Xavier Gooden, an outstanding season and an outstanding performance.
Yeah, I could not say that better than you. Xavier Gooden, great game. Unfortunately, he had to come off, with a higher injury. I think there was some blood involved. It looked like he passed out for a second. Yeah. Unfortunate, and I wish him all the best. Player for next season, player to watch for next season. I'm going to speak about Jaheim Williams, who today must feel hard done by. The goal he could do nothing about. The player just got enough space and took his chances. When the penalty shootout, he did his job. If a keeper keeps one shot out of that goal, he's done his job for the day.
He has.
And I just feel so sorry for him, man, because he's a small figure. And you said it in the preview. You said that this time the only difference is that they will have Jaheim Williams. And you were spot on with it, because he saved a very important penalty from Romain Blake, a player that JC would have counted. He stepped up first. Now, one more thing to mention about Jaheim Williams: the way they employ him in this team, the way they use him, they don't want him to play the ball out much. You have one job and only one job: keep that ball out of the goal. And in terms of that, he's one of the best in the Manning Cup. Keep stopping that ball from going in that goal. He's up there with the best of them. Now, there are other attributes that you need to be a great goalkeeper, to be a really good goalkeeper, and he could develop those, in the future. But I feel like as a shot stopper, I must mention him as one of the best, bro.
Yeah, not only is he a very good shot stopper, he's a smart goalkeeper. His intangibles are on point. His ability to position himself very well, his ability to manage the game, and his ability to lead from behind. And let's speak about his performance in today's game. Not only in the penalty shootout, but he was also solid throughout the game. Coming and getting the catches in the 18-yard box, not being very big, but very diminutive. And he really and truly prevented Jamaica College from dominating the 18, because he was always there. The balls came across and he managed to get his hands to it. He managed to get catches. He managed to keep composed. He managed to manage the game. He managed to slow down the game. And that's why I think he's another standout performer for St. Andrew Technical today.
One player we have to mention. You expect it and he delivers. Shaka Satchwell, the man they call Shaka.
Like clockwork.
From St. Andrew Technical. One thing you can count on from Shaka is a moment. He's going to take his chances. He got a chance. The defender made a mistake, and he made him pay. He latched onto it, got a comforting touch, and then poked that ball behind the secret rows. Who didn't even know about that goal? You would have expected his defender to make a routine clearance, as he said. But Shaka Satchwell, he was terrorizing that back line. Getting the ball out, while losing it sometimes. But that's what you want from your main man. You want him to be risky. You don't want him to be safe. And something I have to say again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but he slows down the game so much. He makes the game look too easy. Whenever he gets a touch, defenders, you have to predict the game. You have to know what a player is going to do before they do it. And he's a player that you can't predict. It's almost like if he shows you the ball and you show him down the line, he's going to take it. If you close up that line, he has the ability to put it somewhere else, just as good as anybody else. If you give him the space, he's going to kick it into the goal. If you give him the space, he's going to play, a pass on the dime. And I was so impressed from Shaka Satchwell today again. Another player who I believe didn't deserve to lose today.
Yeah, you said he provided moments. I think he was turned on from moment 1 to moment 90 plus. He had a consistent game. He did not fade out of today's game any at all. The thing about Shaka Satchwell is that he embraces the main man moniker. He knows that he's that guy for St. Andrew Technical, and he embraces it, and he grabs it with open arms, and he delivers every single time. When he gets the ball almost every time, it seems like it's going to produce danger, even if it doesn't. When he got that opportunity, there was no doubt in anybody's mind, not on the Jamaica College's side or the St. Andrew Technical High School side, that he was going to convert that. Because that's the kind of confidence he exudes, and that's the kind of player he is. He created opportunities. he made plays. You know, he took on defenders. He created opportunities and they didn't always convert, but the opportunity that he got that opened up for him, he absolutely did what he needed to do with it.
There we go. And on the Jamaica college side, I feel like a lot of players had some performance today. You know, Davidson and Blake, you know, we're not used to seeing them make mistakes.
Yeah.
And today, the pressure that St. Andrew Technical, you know, provided today and pressed them, they were forced into making some mistakes, not leading to any goals, but mistakes. And a player that I want to mention is Makwan Aldridge. No, he was good today. You know, I feel like he was, you know, roaming. Sometimes he was pop up on the left, sometimes he was pop up on the right, sometimes he would be the centre forward. And I feel like he's one of the most versatile players in that Jamaica college system. Note, Makwan Aldridge also played midfield for Kingston Technical last year.
And he stayed in that attacking midfield position.
And the only reason he can't play midfield for this team is because they have Kevin Wilson, who is probably not as versatile as him. And I feel like that should put a notch on his shoulder for being so versatile. He got a chance that I feel like he should have done a bit better with, but he was causing that backline for Staths a bit of problem, and I have to give him a mention today. Terrorizing them the whole game.
In that chance, he opted to pass it instead. You know, you can't fault a young player for wanting to pass or wanting to create the opportunity. He was a menace to the St. Andrew Technical High School's backline. An absolute menace. He continued to run at them throughout the whole game, and he linked up very well with his midfielders to create chances. And he stepped up and converted his penalty too.
Here we go.
Outstanding performance, outstanding player.
All right, and one other player we don't usually mention, but we have to mention him today, Fraser. What a goal. To score that goal in the final on the biggest stage in schoolboy football, it doesn't get much bigger than this. And he stepped up today, no nerves, cool as a cucumber, and putting that ball in the top corner.
And
wonderful.
And it's a great story because he was the one who missed that all-deciding penalty in last year's shootout to cost Jamaica College the season. So he said he came in with a chip on his shoulder and he absolutely intended to bury that goal. He knew that he was going to score and redeem himself, and so said, so done.
There we go, one more player going under the radar. But I was thinking about some players. As I said, a lot of players going, you know, putting in subpar performances, but a player that was so good for Jamaica College today, and a lot of people might not realize that Saviola Blake in that 22 in the middle of the park, he doesn't take more than 2 touches. If he needs to dribble the ball, he will. But he was keeping it ticking over, bro. He was spreading that ball well, and he was breaking up the play whenever he could. And I feel like he put in a good performance today. Not to the likes of, say, a Satchwell or a Gooden, but today for JC, he was very important, you know, in stopping Staths from causing them too many problems.
Yeah, and those are, you know, just a few key players. Obviously, we could speak about all 22 players if we had
players,
the time.
man.
You know,
Real good players.
They're shutting the lights off on us in Sabina Park, and it is getting pretty late. You know, we've been doing this for 3 months, and the Manning Cup is over, and I think we deserve a break.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I'm so proud of us, bro. To think that this was just an idea, you know, 12 months ago. This was just an idea, a little over 12 months ago. And we managed to, you know, see it in action and do well with it, I feel like. And people, look out for a few videos coming up. And the one that I'm most excited about is the award show. This or That Sports TV's Manning Cup Award. We are going, give them the categories real quick.
Yeah, so the categories is the Rising Star, you know, for the best young player, Goal of the Season, Coach of the Season, Goalkeeper of the Season, and This or That Sports TV's Player of the Season.
There we go. And another thing to look out for is a show that we'll be starting. You know, you can put it in your calendars, you can put it in your schedule, you can put it anywhere you want to. Write it down. This or That Sports TV will be live, or will be premiering a video at this time. It will be the YouTube Zone, or the YouTube Undisputed, or the YouTube First Take. That will be what it is. It will be a show. We'll have guests on the show, popular faces. So people, look out for that. I'm also excited for that one. This is the final one, bro. We have to give them a good message before we leave Sabina Park. Excited. I hope you guys enjoy the Manning Cup. What do you have to say to the people watching us?
Final one for the Manning Cup. Keep in mind, we still have the Champions Cup upcoming.
JPL.
We also have the Olivia Shield. We'll be covering the JPL, and people in the New Year's. Athletics, boys and girls champs. This or That Sports TV will be there.
Yep.
You know that the reggae girls will be playing, the reggae boys will be playing. It will all be here.
Yeah.
And we will also be here. So people from Sabina Park,
You might try to ace the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You never do all of that. I'm say it a different way today. But yeah, leaving Sabina Park, man. This was our Manning Cup finals post-game analysis.
and this was This or That Sports TV.
We're out.